Paddy Pimblett versus Bobby Green is this weekend, and I cannot wait for this fight in the lightweight division. Bobby Green is ranked in the top 15. We've been waiting for Paddy Pimblett to fight someone in the top 15. He's had a very good rise. I know a lot of people hate him. I know a lot of people discredit him. I actually really enjoy Paddy Pimblett and what he's done for the sport. I think obviously 5 fights now in the UFC, 3 finishes, 2 in the first round, 1 in the second round, 2 decisions, 1 controversial, 1 against Tony Ferguson, which was relatively dominant. I would have liked him to have done it a bit easier than how he did. However, I still think it was a solid performance. I made a video back on it in December. You guys can go back and have a look at that if you wish to. In all honesty, guys, I think this guy's massively overhated. I really love Paddy Pimblett. I love characters, as you all know, and I think Paddy Pimblett is a really good addition to the sport and the lightweight division. I didn't want to release a prediction video too early. I wanted to see what both guys were saying. I wanted to see whose energy I was kind of connecting with more. I wanted to see from what I could gather who was more confident. I was originally kind of leaning Bobby Green, and then I've heard a bit of what Paddy's been saying. Not that he's convinced me. I'm not easily convinced, but I'm going to sit and break down this fight for you. I think it's a lot closer than people think. I think a lot of people are saying, you know, this is it. This is Paddy's time where he's out the window, out the door. I actually don't agree with that. I'm going to say it right now. I think Paddy Pimblett knocks him out. I think Paddy Pimblett knocks the new King Green out cold, unconscious. The reason I say that is it's not to be taken lightly. It's just strongly what I believe. I will describe this for you. Okay, let's put it in the perspective, okay? Let's break these guys' both styles down. Paddy Pimblett walks forward. He kind of has a bit of a reckless abandon, non-educated pressure style of fighting. He kind of would throw his kick up there and just a few shots at a time, try to land something scrappy. What I love about Paddy Pimblett is he's not afraid to get into a fist fight, even though he knows that he's a striking disadvantage. He's got power, and he said recently he's only started believing in the power. So if he's only started believing in his power, you know, he might take more risks, take more chances. In my opinion, Paddy Pimblett taking more risks and chances could be a negative. He's very reckless. I think he needs to tighten up his game a little bit more than he does at the moment. I feel like at the moment, he's not a tight and close fighter. You know, he'll jab like this. He'll jab with his face up like that. When I really think he should be jabbing, you know, tucked up, snap the jab out there, move. And his grappling is obviously elite level. We know that. He got his brown belt when I think he was 21 years old, which is massively impressive, especially coming out of the UK. He's scrappy. He wants to come out here and take this guy's head off his shoulders, which I think he's going to do. I think Bobby Green's just been chinned too many times. I'm going to describe how I think the finish is going to play out in just a minute. I'm also going to do a full card breakdown and reaction after this, so just stay tuned, okay? Oh, sorry, I've just hit the tripod. In all honesty, I think Bobby Green's recently, obviously he had that performance a few years ago against Ali Aquinta. He had a really good performance there. He kind of hands low jab, and probably his best performance I've seen of Bobby Green. Flawless performance against Ali Aquinta. He kind of stepped back, 1-2, and that's what I think is going to work best against Paddy. Paddy can't come in forward. He has to kind of dip and dive, because Bobby Green, as much as he's got a very good check left hook, and as much as you say Paddy gets caught with that, his check left hook is a very slapping punch. It's a slap. It's more of like a slapping hook rather than a sit on your shot, bop, you know, the way Pereira would do it. Even though that man's got freakish power. I'm kind of just rambling on here. I'm firing some points at you, so just hear me out, okay? I can see Paddy getting a bit scrappy with him on the feet. I think they're going to clinch up against the cage, which seems to happen in every single one of Paddy's fights at some point. And Paddy's going to get a trip. And then I think he's kind of going to coast for a little bit. But I can really see them kind of breaking in the clinch. Paddy throwing like a knee to the body, then a left hook over the top. Bobby Green kind of falling forward. Paddy throwing an uppercut left hand, a lunging straight, kind of following him around the cage a little bit. I can foresee that, but I can also see Bobby Green just not taking Paddy's shots very well. I can see Green landing a good jab and maybe a little low calf kick. He's strictly a boxer though. Bobby Green as a striker is not necessarily well-rounded, I wouldn't say. I think Paddy Pimblett is a more well-rounded MMA fighter. And I also think he's massively underrated. You know, if we've seen, let's throw a name out there. You know, we have a little look at Nathaniel Wood and his career, and we think, oh, you know, he's a really good fighter. He's really promising, but he's lacking that finishing ability sometimes and that power. You know, 3 decisions in the featherweight division, one after one. But he's not finishing these fights, but he's having good performances. Or would you rather have Paddy, who has really exciting fights? He's kind of getting clipped, but then he finishes these guys all in the first and second round. You know, to finish fights in the UFC is a very difficult thing to do, and people don't give the guy enough credit. You know, he's 5-0 in the UFC. It's a bit like the same way with Ian Gary. Ian Gary's 8-0 with a lot more impressive wins than Pimblett. Granted, however, he's not finishing these fights, so he's not as he's not as dangerous. I think Paddy Pimblett is a finisher. He smells blood in the water and he goes for it because he's exciting. He knows he can get an emphatic finish, and that's what he goes out there to do. If these guys get grappling, defensively, Bobby Green's grappling is very sound. You know, he can hold a position and stall a position. But the way Paddy Pimblett grapples is he gets the position. He doesn't necessarily get the position before the submission. He'll be half on your back trying to get a choke in, and then if you make one mistake, he'll be hopping on that back, and as he's hopping on the back, he's choking you. He's very fast to pounce on a finish. He's not methodical in a way of where an Oliveira will get the position, work you down, or a Gunnar Nelson will get the position, break you down, then submit you. He kind of is weird. He's a very awkward and strange grappler. And I think that's because he's obviously a UK gym isn't the most traditional wrestling or grappling. You know, it's you can develop your own style, and he has, because he's very flexible, and also he's absolutely massive for the weight class. I know he fought at featherweight, but he just eats so much, and I think his frame has just become a welterweight frame at this point. You know, he wouldn't look small against welterweights. He might look shorter, but he wouldn't look small. He would be like, he towers over a lot of guys with his thickness and his stature. Granted, he's not the tallest guy in the world. I think he's 5'10", 5'11". However, he's a very strong, big guy in person. I was a little bit worried, I must admit. I think Paddy's a very, very good option in this fight. I just don't think Bobby Green's going to be able to deal with him. I think the pressure's going to be too weird, too reckless, too out of nowhere. And I honestly think Paddy Pimblett KOs him in the first round. I think it'll be an uppercut into a left hook, followed by like a lunging right hand as Bobby's going down against the cage. And then, you know, maybe he gets in top mount, starts pounding away at him, and the ref stops it. Maybe an early stoppage, I'm thinking, you know. I just don't think Bobby Green takes a shot as well as he used to. I think this is a very good stylistic matchup for Paddy. We've always said, you know, someone with slick boxing will catch this guy and will put this guy away. But if I'm being 100% honest, I think realistically, this, regardless of it being a great boxer like Bobby Green is, a great mixed martial arts boxer in the little gloves, I think Paddy will be able to neutralise it. I don't see Green knocking him out. I think Paddy will be able to feint the takedowns and do very well against him. I hope Bobby Green's overestimating him, and then Paddy comes in there, blows the roof off the place. I think King Green will be shitting himself after he walks out. He'll be like, fuck. Because Paddy will walk out first, Bobby will walk out second, which is an advantage for Bobby, because if he has to stand in that cage and hear that crowd, that would not be good. I think the ranked guy always goes out second. You know, it's a bit like the champion walks out second. Whoever's higher ranked, with all due respect to everybody, I think because you dislike his personality, you don't give him the same respect. If this was any other prospect, you'd be giving him respect. I was a bit worried, you know. He was talking about the mental health problems he had in this camp, but now it's all really come together. He seems really confident. I like the fact that he's had a few bad performances. I think Paddy Pimblett does really well under pressure. You know, I think if he came in underestimating Jared Gordon, you know, we wouldn't have seen the improvements that we did in the Tony Ferguson fight. I think this will be the most polished and the best Paddy Pimblett we've seen. I think he would have made the most improvements outside the cage this time, you know, limited injuries. He's been working hard all year round. That's what I'm hoping anyway. Obviously, let me know what you guys think is going to happen. I'm going Paddy Pimblett. I'm going to say first round TKO. I think it might be from top mount after dropping Bobby Green. He'll drop Bobby Green, work his way into side control, half guard, land some big shots, and towards the end of the round, after a lot of damage has been done, the referee will stop it. I think it won't be like a power takedown. It'll be a trip against the cage, and on the break, he'll catch him with a few punches. Bobby's not known for having devastating leg kicks or anything. One thing I will say is Paddy Pimblett got extremely tired in his last fight against Tony Ferguson, but it's been 7 months since then, 8 months even, and I'm looking forward to seeing him back. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you.